used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the second installment of the What I'm With podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and with me is my brother, Tim, who listens to Nickelback unironically.
My favorite song is Pants Feet. Google it.
Is that a real thing?
So, someone took a song, took the Nickelback song, but made the words, I like pants and I like feet, pants, feet, feet, pants, and it's the best Nickelback song ever written. I highly recommend you check it out. It is hilarious.
Well, now I don't even want to do this episode. Now I just want to drop everything and listen to Pants Feet, but that's not in the cards. Tim.
Yes.
When you
Dave.
think movies from the 1980s, one writer-director sort of has a lot of infamy as an iconic writer-director of teen dramas.
John Hughes.
John Hughes. We have a game, our first game.
Yes.
Now, one of the things about being brothers and about doing a show together is everything is an opportunity to prove which one of us is best.
Yeah.
It's me. Hands down. There's not even. It's adorable that you're playing.
I mean, you could be the best at being the worst. So, yeah, you can be the best at stuff. Absolutely.
All I heard was best. So that's great. We came up with this idea of a game that the working title, which I guess will just be the title now.
I love it.
Here we are. It's Big Screen Blind Spots.
I love it.
Now, it's not just about our blind spots, but it will, every episode, reveal the blind spot of the person who is asking the questions or giving the list of movies to the other brother. So I have a demonstration that I think will be a cakewalk for you, just to get everyone on board with how this game works. So there are 5 movies, and they're all going to be on a theme, and one of these movies I've never seen. One I've seen and disagree with society's opinion on it. Like, wholeheartly disagree. If they think it's great, I think it's awful. If they think it's awful, I love it.
I would also say we could say, like, overrated, underrated.
That's probably...
Sometimes things...
Probably fair.
Yeah.
Give us a little leeway, because sometimes we don't always have that strong of an opinion.
Yeah.
Next option, I saw it in theaters, but I don't necessarily watch it religiously. Fourth option, I saw it shockingly late in life. And fifth option, I watch it religiously.
Okay.
So I have my test list that are not John Hughes films.
Okay.
This is 5 fantasy movies that coincidentally start or end with the letter L. So
that's so random. I love it.
It didn't. I was just going to do fantasy movies, but the 5 I picked all started with L, except for Krull, which ends with L.
Spoiler, I know one of the movies is Krull.
One of the movies might be Krull. So we've got the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay.
We've got Legend. Mm-hmm. We've got The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the U.S. version, not the British.
Oh, the Disney,
okay.
Very much more recent one. Not the BBC. Mm-hmm. Labyrinth.
Oh, yes.
And the aforementioned Krull.
Okay.
So, of the 5 movies, Lord of the Rings trilogy, Legend, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Labyrinth, and Krull, which have I never seen?
I've got 2 in my head. I'm going to go with Legend.
You're correct.
Tom Cruise.
I've never seen it. I've heard it's awful.
It's pretty bad. I watched it on TV, and it was one of those ones I was kind of in and out of the movie and just couldn't care less.
Ooh, sure.
But if people love it, totally fine.
Okay, so here's the one that should be no shock, because I've said this for ever. What have I seen and don't agree that it's a great movie?
Labyrinth. Don't get it.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I'm...
Sorry, white females.
Yeah, white women born from 1979 to 1989, we get that you like this movie. We don't like it.
I don't.
It's not for us. It's for you.
I don't understand. Like, Bowie's a dude. Like, he's cool.
Oh, he's fine.
But
prefer him musically.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying David Bowie, the human being.
Yeah.
He seems like a cool guy.
Well, he's also a supervillain, if you believe Venture Brothers lore. Which I do.
I do.
Okay. What did I see in the theaters, but I don't necessarily watch it religiously?
What's left again?
So we've got the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Krull.
It will be the Lion, the Witch, and the
Yeah,
Wardrobe.
which ironically, religiously,
Yeah,
C.S. Lewis. It's if you didn't
Allegory.
know, it's an allegory about Jesus. Aslan is Lion Jesus.
Yeah.
Lion, the animal, not the Jesus who lies, because he doesn't lie because he's sinless.
And I will say, greatest line from it though is when they're talking about Aslan. They say,
He's good.
"Yeah, he's not
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Chills.
Awesome. If you're a believer, it's
yeah,
fantastic.
it's fantastic. C.S. Lewis is amazing.
Yeah, and if you're not, it's still a great movie.
It's still great. Yeah, you don't have to believe, but it's still great.
Yeah.
Okay. What did I see shockingly late in life?
I mean, Crawl.
Crawl,
We
yeah.
both saw that shockingly late.
Really
I think it
recently,
was
like in the last
COVID times.
Yeah, during the lockdown, I watched Crawl. I'm not entirely sure how he was able to shoot flames from his hands. It was really unclear to me. Not a terrible movie, but
No, I think it's one of those. If I had seen it during the era, I'd probably adore it.
And for whatever reason, like again, this coming back to being growing up Christian in the 80s and 90s, that was just one of that made the forbidden list for some reason.
Yeah,
and it wasn't glaringly obvious why when I watched it later in life.
I mean, anything that had magic.
Yeah, magic was kind of unless
kinda
it
off the
was the Hobbit cartoon or the BBC Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and then that leaves item 5. I watch it religiously.
As do I. The Lord of the
The
Rings.
Lord of the Rings
trilogy.
extended edition trilogy.
Yeah.
I devote, what is that, 15 hours of my every 6 months or so, probably.
Yeah. So.
Just finished my rewatch of Fellowship last week.
Nice. Yeah, I would say to the viewing audience, a great little life tip. Put it on while you're during Thanksgiving time. If you're having company, you're doing lots of cleaning, lots of cooking. Have the movie like you've seen it a dozen times, but it's great to just have on. You're doing something, you're taking a break, you're waiting for something to finish, and you got, as you said, like 15, 16 hours to just.
And I would go as far as to say it is probably the last time that a solid adventure saga was good.
I agree with that, and beyond that, what I would say, and I've heard other people say this online, is that it's also kind of like the last cultural coherent moment, because we grew up in the 80s and 90s, so there
were a bunch that happened in the 80s and 90s. The late 90s had The Matrix and the Star Wars prequels, but after that, Lord of the Rings was probably the last time that there was really that. Now, Dune has the chance.
It does.
We'll see. It's doing a lot better, and as an aside, Dune is my favorite sci-fi novel of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
I read it every year. I love it.
So this would be a blind spot for me. Is I've never actually read the book. I've listened to the audiobook, but only about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Because I just had such a hard time like staying with the book.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
It's quite a lot, and that's before Mr. Herbert allegedly got heavy into drugs.
Yeah, we allegedly got really into the psychedelics, and you can really tell in like I think it was that Messiah that it's just going crazy.
I mean, Messiah, Chapter House, God Emperor. It gets a little nutty.
Yeah,
and then his son writes movies, and they happen, or books. I'm sorry, not movies.
Yeah,
he wrote some books, and they happened.
They just keep. One stands out for me. I believe it was written by the son. It's when we, I think we go back and we get a more Duncan Idaho centric.
Well, Duncan is both in Herbert's sequels and in prequels and in Son sequels because Duncan becomes the main character.
Okay, so I remember this. We as kids we took a trip to Canada, and when we would do this, we would get books.
Audio cassettes.
Yeah, often abridged.
Often abridged. Dune books we did. Pern.
Yep.
The Dragon Riders of Pern. We did those. Fantastic books.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back and read those as an adult, but I remember. I don't know which one it was. We'll probably have some information as to. But it was really really good. It was, and I just remember being
some of the prequels were very very passable books. But yeah, I always get a little when people start creating in someone else's space. It's like you're just not really capturing the same magic, the same voice, the same vision.
Right.
Dune. Anyway,
so I'm 5 for 5 on the test.
5 for 5 on the test.
Good. That's almost 1 point.
So actually, we needed to explain the point structure.
Yes.
So we are going to keep a running tally of points. We haven't really determined since we're only doing maybe one episode a week right now, how long we're going to run contests.
Yeah.
But at the end of a contest, whoever has the most points will get a trophy. We're going to build that trophy, probably make some extra content about building that trophy.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be some shaming for the person who loses. So for this game, I would say that if you get 3 out of 5 correctly, you get 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get all 5, you get a bonus 2 points. So you can go anywhere from 0 points to 3 points playing this game.
Sounds fair. And what we're calling this overarching contest that includes games, what did we say it was again? Everything is a chance to...
Everything is a chance to prove that I'm better.
Or everything is a chance to prove which one is better.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, that I'm better. Yeah. I said it right.
Okay. So that's what we'll put.
Point for me. Okay, so I'm actually, as a generosity to my inferior brother, I'm going to allow
What did I
you
do?
to...
Wait. Answer that when we're done.
Yeah, how many hours do we have? I'm going to give you a choice. So we mentioned John Hughes is the theme.
Mm-hmm.
John Hughes is a writer and a director.
Yes.
We could either go 5 movies that he wrote,
Okay.
which he did not necessarily direct, some he did, or 5 movies that he both wrote and directed. I have both lists ready to go.
So I'm kind of familiar with the ones that he wrote and directed. I'm not 100% familiar where he was just the writer.
Okay.
So that said, I've probably seen most of everything that you're going to list. I'm
pretty sure the only ones I'm not sure about. There's a couple. So yeah.
Let's go full John Hughes.
Full John Hughes, writer director. Okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling it.
I think this is listed chronologically.
Okay.
If not, shame on me.
Full me can't get
Full me. I immediately was like, all right. So out of the gate, 16 Candles.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And Curly Sue.
Okay.
Which, when I was making the list, did not realize that was a John Hughes writer-director moment.
Could not have ever guessed that in a million years.
So,
I was just familiar with like the whole
the
Pack.
Yeah, the Brat
era.
Pack stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to hit all 5 criteria that we've mentioned, I've never seen it. I've seen it and disagree. Or I've seen it and I think it's overrated and underrated. I saw it in theaters, but don't watch it religiously. I saw it shockingly late in life, and I watch it religiously. I had to pick. I had to throw Curly Sue into the mix for the writer-director ones because I didn't have one that checked every box otherwise.
Gotcha.
So, that said, what do you remember the most about those movies that we've listed? So we've got 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Curly Sue, and Breakfast Club. What comes to your mind about any of those?
I mean, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, that's ingrained. It's teenage boy fantasy. Mm-hmm. The skipping school, the cute girlfriend, the best friend who you can kind of get to go along and do whatever you want. It's pure boy fantasy. Oh, taking the Ferrari. Yeah.
Interesting side note. Now we were texting a day or two ago about fantasy automobiles from the era, and I did not bring up the Ferrari because I didn't want to spoil this episode. We have a rule that we don't spoil the content for the other person.
Yes.
So one of us comes into this completely blind. It makes it more fun.
I'm the blind one today.
So the Ferrari in the movie was a replica. It sold at auction in the last 5 years. I forget exactly. It was in, I think it was in the Dickety Dicketies it sold.
That's the 2020s for the uninformed.
For the uninformed. What do you think it sold for? It's a replica. It's not a real Ferrari, so it's primarily selling for its value as a prop from a beloved film.
Okay. So these are the 2 pieces of information that I have just from my own searching. Is I know for a fact, within the last 2 years, the pickup truck from Back to the Future, so that's the one at the very end of the film.
The Toyota.
Yes. So it's... But I would love to have one of those. It sold for $71,000. So it's not the time machine, but it's still pretty popular.
It's popular. I would argue it's not iconic.
Not iconic, but I mean, it looks so cool.
It is really cool.
And to put it in perspective, a similarly kitted out version of that Toyota pickup truck in that same, we'll call it 5-year era is like 30,000. This was 70,000.
Right, so it more than
gets
doubled.
A bump. It gets a bump.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's a Michael Keaton Batmobile at this place that does like auctions, and it's this whole big mall that you can go to. I know that is $750,000. So it's a replica of the Keaton Batmobile, but also I think you have to have a pretty expensive car under the hood just to make the replica.
I think you do, yeah.
So I'm playing with a range of 70,000
to 700
to 750,000.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this at 300,000.
You're almost dead nuts on. It was in the 330s or 350s. I would have to I didn't actually write it down. It just stuck in my brain.
350 was the number that I was toggling.
I want to say it was like 335 or something like that, or 355. It was right around there. Now, the actual Ferrari.
Oh gosh.
Sold at auction, also in the Dickety-Dicketies. This is an exceedingly rare Ferrari.
Okay.
Any idea?
Because you said exceedingly rare, I'm gonna have to put it. I mean, we're in the seven figures. Mm-hmm. It's just how far. Mm-hmm. Are we over $1 million? I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna say 2.5 million.
Multiply that by 9.
What?
18 million.
18 million.
18 million for for the actual Ferrari.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
nuts.
It's nuts, but we know from we used to listen to the Adam Carolla podcast, and he's a car collector, and he talks about Jay Leno, who's a car collector, and that these things just go up in value.
Oh yeah, and they're worth what someone's willing to pay. Like once you get into that kind of sphere of wealth, whatever. I mean, if someone wants it that bad, they're going to keep outbidding till they can't.
Yeah. So to you and I, it sounds insane.
Right.
We're middle class guys, so it's like our house is going up in value.
Yeah.
For the wealthy class, it's like, yeah, we can get these, and they're just going to go up in value.
They are going to go up. They're for the most part investments.
Right. So I don't know why I'm trying to downplay how expensive that is.
I mean,
and take the ridiculousness out of it.
I'm trying to think if I will ever, over the course of my 80-ish years on this planet, cumulatively earn $18 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know if I can even. Can you go and get your old tax returns and start making?
You just start adding
it all up. See,
it's gonna be embarrassing for the first 30-ish years. Yeah. Somehow we made it.
Yeah. Hey, here we are.
All right. So
okay.
So speaking of cars, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes.
Any thoughts about that movie? Anything stand out in your head? I mean, obviously John Candy, the late great.
Yeah. So
Steve Martin is amazing, especially when he plays a jerk.
Yeah. A couple of things stand out for me because I saw this later in life. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's not like a precursor. But the two things that stand out are it's rated R for one scene.
Yes.
For one scene only, which is
amazing scene.
Amazing scene.
How may I help you?
You could start by wiping that dumbass smile off your rosy cheeks. Then you can give me an automobile, a Datsun, a Toyota, a Mustang, Buick, 4 wheels and a seat.
So, for me, Steve Martin is the wild and crazy guy from Saturday Night Live. He's a dad in Cheaper by the Dozen, a dad in Father of the Bride.
Father of the Bride. It's funny. I was literally just 2-3 hours ago had a conversation about things being unequal in packaging, and the person I was having the conversation with immediately went Father of the Bride, hot dog buns.
Yes,
like,
yes,
the 8 and the 12.
I'm removing the superfluous buns.
It's such a great
amazing moment. And Martin.
Oh,
Short,
and I'm 100% wired that way.
Yeah.
Oh, Martin Short is great. Yeah. Anytime you have Steve Martin Short, I mean they're comedic dynamo.
Yeah, they're incredible together. Yeah. So that scene stands out, and then for me, Tommy Boy was my original.
Tommy Boy
duo.
was basically the 90s version of Planes, Trains.
Yeah, so you got the wacky guy and you got the straight arrow guy, and they are forced together on this road trip where just calamity ensues, and it's hilarious watching them play off each other. So that's kind of what stands out. There are lots of other scenes. It's a classic. I adore it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Wish I had seen it earlier in life. Yeah. So I could have seen it more times.
That's fair. Now Curly Sue made the list.
Yeah.
Do you remember Curly Sue?
I do. I remember Curly Sue.
That's a good movie. That was a movie.
What's rattling around in my head right now is, did we see that one in the theater? I'm pretty sure we did, but it could have also just been a rental. But I mean, that was why am I blanking on Belushi.
Jim.
Yeah, Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi.
As the guy, and Curly Sue. Was it that she was an orphan?
And there was
or-
like a homelessness angle,
Yeah.
and like they were on the streets together, and it felt like Home Alone 2: Lost in New York.
Yeah.
Which ironically was written by John Hughes and was on the alternative list.
and is sitting on the shelf just
Yeah, it's
behind you.
Phenomenal movie. That one was actually really hard to categorize because it actually checked a lot of boxes
Yeah.
for both of us, I think.
Yeah.
That was a very important movie in our youth.
was.
So I'm actually kind of glad it's not on the list.
One of our few like owned VHSs. We had a lot of like taped off TV.
Yeah.
But we had a shelf not much more than what's behind you right now of actually owned VHSs, and it was one of them. So it got watched regularly. Home Alone 2.
I'm going to need to get the pen if we're going to start tracking what you put down. So I'm just going to leave frame for a moment. Horrifically unprepared.
So I'm here now. 3 cameras looking at me, and hey, nothing's going on.
No, it's fine.
And we're back.
Okay. So, what movie of the 5, what John Hughes movie have I never seen?
You have. Okay. So I'll just explain my thought process out loud. It is either 16 Candles or where they're in the library doing the thing. Why?
The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast
Yeah.
Club. Yes, gosh, I'm old. I lose.
Yeah.
So much goes in, so much goes out. Yada yada yada. It's one of those two, and of the two, because I would say the Breakfast Club's a little more iconic, I'm gonna say 16 Candles. You have never seen.
Correct.
Fun fact: I saw it for the first time last summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was on Amazon. I was like looking for a movie. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I've never seen
Why
this.
not? Okay. What movie have I seen and I think it's overrated or underrated?
Breakfast Club. I think you think it's. Oh no!
Nope.
Okay.
As you were waxing philosophical about the virtues of Ferris Bueller, the gears in my mind were grinding against you. I do not like that movie.
Wow.
It just never clicked for me. I don't really get why it's the cultural phenomenon that it is. So yeah,
We're gonna have to end early
okay.
because this is what I've learned in our test a week or so ago. I found out you don't like 80s new wave.
That's a bit of an exaggeration. I'm burned out on it.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe after a break from having to hear it every workday, maybe I'll come back around.
I'm calming down.
Yeah.
I'm calming down because that's yeah. Okay.
I'm also wondering if I should not tell you if you get things right or wrong, because now
I mean, you've taken one off the board.
I've taken one off the board. 2 are off the board, so I should probably, for the correct format of the game, not inform you if you're right or wrong moving on.
Okay. Yeah. We'll learn as we go.
Yeah,
And make
we're
this
new at
better.
this. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what did I see in theaters that I don't necessarily watch religiously?
It has to be Curly Sue. Then.
It's Curly Sue.
Yeah.
Dang it! I did the thing. I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this is
Well, we've already started.
we've already ruined the game.
Yeah, it's fine
on the first time around.
But if you go back to whatever time code,
Yeah.
I nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Way to go, buddy. Well, this is the tricky part because you would have, of the 2 remaining, the one I saw late in life and the one that I watch religiously.
Yeah.
One of them would be off the board already because you would have put it as the one that I disagreed with society about.
Right. So I can go ahead and tell you
Yeah.
that the one you watch religiously is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Of course I do.
And then late in life is Breakfast Club.
Correct.
I did it.
Yeah. So you got 1 point for getting 3 right.
Okay.
And then 1 bonus. No. Did we say 1 bonus point? No, it's 2 bonus points if you get all 5.
Yeah.
So you got 1 point.
1 point.
So the current tally in the which one of us is better running game, everything's an opportunity to prove which one of us is best.
Yep.
The current running tally is 1-0. That's only because we've only played 1 game.
Correct.
And if the roles were reversed, it would be 3-0
Now,
because I would have gotten yours right.
I'm going to present to you an opportunity.
Okay.
When you explain the game to me via text, I went ahead and made myself a quick little list to play for this game. I don't have it written down, but my phone is over there. I can grab my phone and I
Okay.
can look at it.
Yes.
Okay, so
Let's see if there's an opportunity to actually compete.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And
We'll do the same thing where I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
Since you went
Make
ahead
it
and told me.
make it equal, and then we'll fix it. in later episodes. Still thinking about Nickelback. Pants feet.
We're watching it immediately after this. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to get in here.
What I do, I don't know if this is what you do. I just keep it as draft emails.
Oh, no, I use
That way I have it on anything.
Google Drive, so I've got the app on my phone. So
I mean, I guess I do too.
it's the same potato, really, at that point.
Okay. So, for my list of these movies, my theme is Mr. Harrison Ford.
Oh.
Heartthrob.
I almost did Harrison Ford as my theme.
Wow. See, I was going to bet that that's what you were going to do.
It was close to being my theme, and then because I thought it was more shocking that I hadn't seen 16 Candles, that I went with John Hughes.
Okay.
Because I think that is like a huge cultural blind spot for me.
All right. So, I have to read these out of order because I have them written in order. The movies to choose from are
Okay.
Apocalypse Now,
Okay.
The Mosquito Coast, Frantic, Air Force One, What Lies Beneath.
You did not go a direction as Indiana Jones or Han Solo.
I can't. I had to keep all the obvious stuff out, or Jack Ryan.
Okay,
Because,
so
like his.
there's
arguably
actually a
three
couple of those
biggest
I've never even
franchises.
heard of.
Okay.
So if they're ones you haven't seen, they're ones I haven't heard of. So, all right. So you had Frantic, Mosquito Coast,
Apocalypse Now,
Apocalypse Now. That would be insane if you haven't seen that.
Air Force One,
I know you've seen that.
What Lies Beneath.
Okay. So starting with what I think you've never seen.
Yeah. So what of those movies have I never seen?
Mosquito Coast.
Incorrect. The answer is Frantic.
Okay.
So I'm doing the thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
All right. Now, the second one, I have seen this movie, and contrary to popular opinion, I think it's overrated.
Apocalypse Now.
Correct.
Okay.
Don't care for it. Saw it. It was a movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Heart of Darkness is a great book.
Never read it.
But
Illiterate.
Yeah, I know. One of the many reasons why I'm better than Tim is that I read books, or
Yeah.
used to. Then I had kids.
Yeah. So what's funny, because I have a thing in my ear that's actually just reading off everything that's on this screen because I can't read. All right.
Okay.
Next one.
You saw it in theaters, but don't religiously rewatch it.
Correct.
What lies beneath?
Correct. Well done. Well done.
I obviously.
Yeah, I saw it.
Shockingly late in life would be Mosquito Coast because that's the remaining
Last summer.
last summer, and then of course you watch Air Force One. Get off my plane!
Get off my plane.
Yeah, of course you watch that religiously. So,
It just introduced it to the daughter last month.
oh, nice.
This was her first R movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, she loved it. As I loved it.
Yeah, I would say Patriot Games is a better movie, but it's also way too much for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I couldn't add it on this list because
well,
all
that
about
there's
the
no. I mean, it absolutely checks box number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to be the one you watch religiously because it's Patriot Games,
So I think you got 4 correct out of 5.
and you got 4 correct as well. So we
Oh,
are
okay.
we
So
are 1-1.
1-1. So neither one of us is better, but also neither one of us is worse.
This hasn't gone to plan. Like, this is.
No.
We're gonna have to rework this game because clearly it's got some sort of angle in it that benefits the enfeebled. So, all right. So we have covered John Hughes.
Yep.
And we have covered Harrison Ford. I will not spoil the one I have next in mind, but it's gonna be a doozy.
Okay.
So it's gonna be, yeah, we'll see.
Is this going to be one of those next time on Arrested Development
Yeah.
things at the end? Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, so that was Big Screen Blind Spots, 2 rounds. A
A round
planned
and a
round
bonus-
and an unplanned round, which is great.
and an introduction round.
Yeah.
So 3 rounds.
3 rounds.
We give and we give.
I mean,
We're like a tree that gives.
oh yeah, our
a giving tree.
I like to think of myself more as the little red hen.
You mean the hen bully
The hen
who
bully
refused to
who
share her
doesn't- who
bread.
refuses to share
Yeah.
the fruits of her labor. What a jerk. And on that note, I guess we are going to sign off.
Yeah.
Tim is going to introduce me to the best Nickelback song of all time, being the diehard, unapologetic, and unironic fan of Nickelback that he is.
That is correct. We'll link it somewhere in the description so
Yeah.
you can see it too. While you're there, do the thing. With
Oh
the
yeah, the
buttons.
liking, subscribing,
Like, subscribe, share it with your friends. We're new
Yeah,
at this. We're
we're-
you know we're two humble guys out here just trying to.
That fell apart so quickly.
Once I hit humble, it was.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's only partially true.
We're two guys. We're having fun.
Yeah.
We hope that you have fun with us.
If
and-
we have fun, we assume you're having fun. Otherwise, why would you be watching?
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess in future episodes, I know we've covered video games, we've covered movies. You
Yep.
can look forward to covering comic books,
Yes.
television,
Music.
I actually have a music episode in the hopper already.
So do I, and I'm very nervous that we have a similar idea.
Interesting.
So we're gonna have to.
We might have to involve an intermediary.
Yeah, we might.
We might. Yeah, because we have to not spoil the topic,
Right.
so that you can go into it blind or deaf, as the case may be,
Or illiterate.
as the case always is.
Bye.
Bye.